The sound came first, a violent metallic scream swallowed by rain and wind, the kind of sound that makes the earth flinch. Headlights tore across the dark highway, then vanished as a white SUV rolled, flipped, and skidded into the ditch like a wounded animal trying to escape its own shadow. For a moment, the world went silent, except for the ticking of cooling metal and the distant rumble of thunder. Inside that crushed vehicle was a woman who had spent her life running toward danger, never imagining that on this lonely stretch of road, danger would finally catch her. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet heroism that often goes unseen, take a moment right now to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel name. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that need them most. She had joined the FBI believing in order, in lines that could be drawn cleanly between right and wrong. Years of training had carved discipline into her bones, but nothing prepared her for how heavy responsibility could feel when it followed you home at night. That evening, the rain had come down hard and fast, blurring the road and her thoughts. She was driving back from a case that had refused to end neatly, one involving missing weapons and a shadow network that seemed to dissolve every time she got close. She told herself it was just fatigue, just another late night. But her instincts had been screaming for miles. When the SUV lost traction, it wasn't fear she felt first, but frustration, as if even the road itself had decided to turn against her. The vehicle settled upside down, glass shattered, the world inverted. Pain bloomed sharp and immediate, then dulled into something heavy and suffocating. She hung there, held by a seatbelt that dug into her ribs, blood trickling slowly, rain seeping through broken seams. Training told her to stay calm, to assess, to survive. But training doesn't account for the creeping cold or the way loneliness presses in when your radio is dead and your phone lies somewhere beyond reach. In that ditch, with the storm closing in, she realized how thin the line was between being the one who rescues and the one who needs saving. Miles away, on a different stretch of road, a Navy SEAL was driving without urgency, without destination. Years earlier, he had learned to live by orders and objectives, but now his life moved more quietly, shaped by loss and memories that refused to fade. Beside him sat his canine partner, a scarred but loyal dog whose eyes still carried the sharp intelligence of countless missions. They had both survived things that never made it into official reports. Things that left marks you couldn't see unless you knew how to look. The SEAL had left the service with honor, but also with a hollow ache. The kind that follows you when your sense of purpose disappears overnight. The storm had forced them off the main road. He noticed the faint glint of overturned metal only because the dog stirred, head lifting, muscles tensing. That instinct, honed through years of working together, made him slow the vehicle. He didn't know why, not yet, but he trusted it. Pulling over, he felt the old switch flip inside him, the one that turned exhaustion into focus. This wasn't a mission anymore, but his body didn't know the difference. The ditch smelled of oil, rain, and blood. The SUV lay upside down, wheels still spinning slightly, as if unwilling to accept what had happened. The dog moved first, careful but alert, circling, sniffing, confirming what the SEAL already sensed. Someone was alive in there. Time stretched, heavy with urgency, as he worked to pry open a door, ignoring the way his hands shook, ignoring the memories that clawed their way back with every rush of adrenaline. He had been trained to act under fire, but nothing ever quite prepared you for the vulnerability of pulling a stranger from wreckage, hoping you weren't already too late. When he reached her, she was barely conscious, eyes fluttering, breath shallow. He registered the FBI badge automatically, the way you notice details without thinking when you've spent years in uniform. In another life, they might have passed each other in an airport or a briefing room. never exchanging more than a nod. Now in the rain-soaked dark, titles meant nothing. She was just a human being in need, and that was enough. Getting her free was slow and brutal. Every movement risked making things worse. The rain soaked through his clothes, the cold seeping into his bones. But he worked steadily, methodically, the dog standing watch as if guarding a fallen comrade. When the seatbelt finally gave and he eased her onto the wet ground, relief hit him so hard it left him dizzy. She was alive. Bruised, broken, but alive. As they waited for help, time seemed to bend. Sirens were distant, promises rather than realities. The seal found himself thinking about all the moments he hadn't been there in time, all the faces that haunted his sleep. This rescue didn't erase those memories, but it softened them. Just enough to remind him that even after loss, there could still be purpose. The dog pressed close, warmth and reassurance in solid form. A reminder that loyalty and trust could survive even the darkest chapters. For the FBI agent, drifting in and out of awareness, the world narrowed to sensations. The cold rain on her skin, the firm pressure of hands keeping her still, the steady presence of the dog whose breathing anchored her to the moment. Somewhere beneath the pain, gratitude stirred, raw and overwhelming. She had chased justice across cities and borders. But in this quiet ditch, she understood something simpler and deeper. Sometimes survival depended not on strength or skill, but on strangers choosing to care. Recovery was slow. Broken bones healed, bruises faded, but the experience left a mark that went deeper than scars. She returned to work eventually, carrying a renewed sense of humility with her badge. The case that had haunted her took on new clarity, as if surviving had sharpened her resolve. She no longer saw herself as invincible, and strangely, that made her stronger. She understood now that asking for help wasn't weakness, and that heroes didn't always arrive with flashing lights. The seal went back to his quiet life, but something had shifted. He started volunteering, training search and rescue teams, letting the dog do what it loved most. He slept a little better, haunted less by the past, grounded by the knowledge that even outside the battlefield, his skills still mattered. The rescue didn't give him back everything he had lost, but it gave him something he thought was gone forever. The certainty that he still belonged in the world. They never became close in the way movies promise. Their lives moved in different directions, shaped by different demands. But there was an understanding between them that didn't need words. A nod when their paths crossed again. A shared look that carried the weight of that night. It was enough. Stories like this don't end with fireworks or applause. They end quietly, in the steady rhythm of lives continuing. But that quiet is where the meaning lies. In a storm, on a forgotten road, three beings crossed paths and reminded each other of something essential. That courage isn't always loud. That kindness can arrive without warning. That second chances sometimes come wrapped in rain and darkness. If this story reached you, if it made you pause, reflect, or feel something you didn't expect, please take a moment now to like the video, share it, and subscribe to channel name. Your engagement tells us that stories of humanity still matter. Before you go, we have one special request. Please comment the line, "Kindness still saves lives," below this video and share what this story meant to you. Your words might be exactly what someone else needs to read today.